I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Welcome to the January board meeting. If I get time, I can go around and introduce myself and see if a lot of faces here that have never seen mine. Before we get started, so that we don't waste anybody's time, if you're here concerning the campground outside of Heritage Lake, they have withdrawn their application for zoning, and which means, I guess, some of you scared them. They decided not to go forward They had decided not to go forward at this time with any type of zoning request for that property. I think they jumped to a conclusion for whatever reason, but we just got the notification late this afternoon. We were going to assume that anything we heard up to this point was just hearsay, but we finally talked to Lisa with the planning people at the county, and they have withdrawn. So if that's why you're here, you could get home, get some dinner, and wait for that championship game.
I told my wife if I showed up.
Or you could stay and learn something about the government or the lake. Or not.
This just goes to show you my popularity, or our popularity. All right.
They were just
Second announcement before we get started. There is a championship college football game tonight. Starts at 7:30. We have 29 minutes. All right. Announcements. Pledge. Clear Creek Conservancy.
Dwayne Kelly, 282.
Your time's up.
Landing. Be quick. I just want to say, last Thursday, we had our pre-bid conference. We hoped we'd get a couple of companies that come and were interested in bidding. We had, our little conference room was full. Some of them were subcontractors, but we were very pleasantly surprised with the turnout we had at the pre-bid conference.
Oh, great. Congratulations.
And our next meeting is the 19th at 10 o'clock
Okay.
at the Conservancy.
Floyd Township Fire Department. Thank you, Dwayne.
Jeff Brooks, Floyd Township Fire Department, 123 Patriots Landing. For December, we had 39 runs, including 3 structure fires. One of those on Friday and then on Saturday before Christmas. All our crews they bore the cold very well, completed their duties. We were froze, but none of the equipment did freeze up. We were one of the only fire departments that didn't have any freezing issues on equipment. Floyd Township Fire Department is proud to announce that we're now a 501c3. What's that mean to y'all? It means if you donate money, it's a tax deduction. If you want to leave us a fire truck or something like that, whether you want to leave it bequested, transferred, or as a gift, you can also do that as well. It'll also open a lot of doors for us for grants, especially federal grants that right now, before this, we weren't eligible for. You may have noticed our crews in the lake in the last couple of weeks. We're digging out, we're placing inlet screens on the dry hydrants. I've had a lot of questions about what we're doing, so I'll tell everybody now. 3 of them we had to dig out. They were buried under about 1.5 feet of silt. 2 of the screens we did replace. We also installed one that was missing over by the clubhouse. And we have also started discovering the possibility of adding a more reliable and year-round water supply. It could be wet wells, pumping stations, storage tanks, or even drilled wells. All options are on the table. And lastly, I'd like to announce Brack Hildebrand is my new assistant chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Neighborhood Watch, no report. HLCS.
no report.
No report. Hellneck, no report. POA Security, Ken Roselle.
Alarms 9, frog call 1, 4 lockouts, 9 traffic stops, 2 administrative calls, 1 disturbance, 1 psychiatric, 1 suspicious person with a vehicle, total arrest 1, road hazard 1, cardiac arrest 2, property damage accidents 3, missing runaway 1, medical assistance 1, trespassing 2, and 3 paper service, and that's it.
Thank you, Ken. Garden Club, no report. Presentation of agenda. Everybody, it's okay, we added 1 item, but it's already been on the agenda. Presentation of minutes. I'll take a motion for the November 12th board meeting.
Move we accept. Second.
All those in favor? There was no operations meeting in November, or December. It was in November, but for December. Treasurer's report. Mr. Stafford.
Okay. December 2022 accrued income for the month of December was $70,566.27. Total expenses for the month were $103,413.95, leaving a negative net income balance of negative $32,847.68. Just as a side note, because everybody obviously doesn't probably like to hear negative big numbers at the end of the year, more than half of the expenses for December are salaries, employee benefits, lake insurance, policy premiums, property taxes, and siltation expenses. Nothing out of the ordinary, just a lot coming out at the end of the year, just trying to pay off everybody that needs to be paid. And we've already received almost $10,000 in the past 5 days from boat slip tie-ups and campground lease fees that have already started to be paid. So it's already rolling in. Year-to-date accrued income, this is for December, end of year, is $1,683,319.55. Total expenses year-to-date are $1,708,759.91, leaving a negative year-to-date of negative $25,440.36. In our checking account balance, we have $326,139.07, and the CD money market investments accounts are $209,649.45, leaving a total of $535,788.52. Our accountant has not finalized any of our end of year books, so there may be some slight variances, changes and whatnot. These are the unofficial non-tax bearing numbers.
Thank you, AJ. On the same, within the same parameters as the treasurer report, the board works very closely with the CPA firm that we employ. Towards the end of the year, and with Ken's help, we usually pay for something that we know we're going to need next year so that we can avoid paying taxes on some profits. So some of these negative figures might sound like we don't know what we're doing, but I think we know what we're doing. At least the CPA does. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. Committee reports. A&E, that's me. A&E last month had one house that was 2,797 square feet. Pretty nice size house. A non-waterfront fence, 1 pergola, and the A&E committee denied changing the rule on covered docks. For those of you who haven't heard anything about that, there was an issue prior to now for someone, for the fact that some people think that if you can cover your boat, you can cover your dock. We have a provision in our A&E rules that says you cannot cover your dock, you can only cover your boat. And that's been an area of contention out here at the lake for some time. We try not to let anybody do that. Sometimes they go ahead and do it anyway, and we ask them to either take it off or they tell us to sue them, and we don't sue them. You know, there's a lot of explanations for what goes on when somebody does something that we don't want them to do. But anyway, the A&E committee at this point feels like they're not going to change that rule. They're going to keep the rule. So that's where it is right now. So once we address that in the future, that's what's happened. Next committee report, campground, no report. Cleanup, no report. Government committee, Rick Olson.
Rick Olson, 51 Mill Springs. Had a changing of the guard, if you will, at the commissioners. Tom Helmer is now the president and Dave Barry is the vice president for the coming year. Other than that, they have a highway meeting on this Wednesday, the 11th, that I plan to attend, where they're going to be talking about the road repairs for next year. So we should know soon about Heritage Drive on the east side, as well as the other roads that are in the 7-year plan. So I'll be reporting on that next month. Any questions?
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick. Lake committee, no report. Clean water, no report, correct?
Correct.
Long-term planning, no report. Siltation, Dwayne Kelly, no report. Attaboy, Dwayne. Election, no report. All right, manager's report, Ken Roselle.
Okay, it'll be quick. Clear Creek Conservancy has closed the dam and it will remain closed until the lake returns back to pool level. As of today, the government committee has not finalized the CPI numbers for the December that allows me to calculate the 2023 assessment total. I anticipate the government to have this done sometime this week, and will send out an email with the 2023 amount upon their completion. The assessments are due every year by March 1st and to be paid before April 1st. Last fall, I had one full-time employee and one part-time position come open. The full-time position has been filled. I have hired Jason Adams from Lincoln Hills. He comes from DePaul University Maintenance Department. I look forward to working with Jason and would like to welcome him to the POA. The maintenance staff will continue to work on the Lincoln Park boat dock while weather and temperatures cooperate. When the dock is finished, we will be moving to the marina to extend the dock on around to connect to the boat slip, and to Paul's point on money spent for sake of taxes, the material for both of these projects has been purchased for this year. I would like to thank Steve Vondasar's Tree Service, a Heritage Lake resident. The campground had 18 dead trees that had potential to fall on several campers, and Vondasar did a great job at a remarkable price of $2,500. That is an average of $138 per tree with cleanup. So I'd like to thank Steve Vondasar for doing that. Finally, the restaurant income payment for December we got our base pay for $2,500 in December, and for year-to-date 2022, we were paid $65,895. I'm done. Is that quick?
Thank you, Ken. For those gentlemen who just walked in, if you're here concerning the campground situation, that has been withdrawn from Putnam County. All right, just wanted to make sure you knew. Okay, let's move right into old business. Only thing we have on old business tonight is 14 Jefferson Valley. For those of you who don't know what that means, it's a variance that was applied for by some folks for a cover over their dock. This particular situation was a boat cover that extended over the dock farther than 2 feet, overages from the roof line. And we visited that dock to see if there was anything we might be able to do for these people. It's a handicap situation. So we have proposed to them, and it has been accepted by those people, to move, if this were their boat, their dock would have extended over here, or their cover, and over here. So this was not according to the rules. We've asked them to move this covered area over to cover a 6-foot dock, and therefore another 6-foot dock. Put handicap rails down the end of this roof for the gentleman that's handicapped on this particular site. And they paid a fine for putting up a roof that was not approved by the A&E committee. And they have agreed to accept our proposal and move that roof line over for the handicap situation. And they have to put in handicap rails. And they also had to sign an agreement that if the handicap situation was not needed in the future, or they sold their property, it would have to be taken down and put up according to A&E rules. And that's the compliance we have agreed with them, and they have agreed with us. Between last meeting and this meeting, because I wanted to make a kind of a determination on where we stood, I've had a conversation with each one of the board members and explained to them where we stood on this. Tonight is a matter of a formality. We're going to vote on this variance, and that's what the variance is going to suggest. This is all going to be put in their file, so they're going to get they're going to get a handicap cover on their dock, so that he has 6 feet to get in his boat on one side, and he has 6 feet to get in his boat on the other side, if he would have to use a wheelchair or whatever other help he needs as a handicapped person. Okay? So I will take a motion.
I move we approve the variance with the terms and restrictions outlined.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. New business. The first item is gone, proposed neighborhood campground. As you all know, that has been withdrawn. Second item, permanent POA card, Rick Miller.
I think we can make short work of this. As I think everyone on the board knows, we allocated a budget line item for permanent POA ID cards, and I'm presenting a proof of concept to Ken and the office personnel tomorrow. Assuming that goes well and they approve the strategy and direction I'm taking them, it's time to purchase equipment. And just to make sure we don't spend and waste money, what I'm suggesting is we buy one of the 2 proposed printers and just enough supplies to get us started training and preparing to roll this thing out. So the total amount of money against that budget that I'm asking for you to vote on tonight is $2,142.99.
Does this include the software side of things?
Software does come with the printer.
Okay. And everything will mesh within the different systems and,
Well, I have to make it do that, but Ken's gonna see tomorrow how well of a job I did.
okay.
And Rick and I had a conversation a little while ago about, I said, have you done the math? Have you done the payback on it? And he feels it can be paid back in a year.
Oh, I love it.
Even if it's 2 years or 3 years, it's a good investment,
Yeah.
so.
And I think, you know, if you look at the total budget, I'm not gonna promise yet, but we increased that budget because I felt like I might need independent software developer skills. Right now, it's not looking like I will, so the budget that we're looking at, when it's all spent, may only be in the $5,000 or $6,000 range. Yes.
So institutionally, are we gonna have fees associated with, I've lost my card, I need to have a card? Are we gonna need to come up with all of those parameters, or is that
That'll
a
be up-
operational thing for Ken to figure out?
That's an operational thing that'll be up to Ken, and we've already had some discussions on that.
Okay.
We're gonna kind of
dive into that tomorrow afternoon.
I just know from my old parking garage days, everybody loses their parking card anyway that they use every single day to get in the parking garage somehow.
Well, we
So I
charge
just-
now, if you lose your paper card and need another one, we charge you for it now.
Okay,
So it might just be a little bit more.
perfect.
What's the anticipation? I see one ribbon cartridge produces 300 prints. About how many ribbon cartridges do you think we're gonna go through in a year?
First year, there'll be a lot, probably 8,
8,
okay?
okay.
And after that, because you'll only be printing ID cards for those who lost theirs,
Great.
or they
For
got,
AJ.
or they got damaged, or for new people.
You need a new one every week.
So annually, the supplies cost is gonna be much, much different.
Okay. Will they be hard copy, like, are they hard cards or are they laminated paper?
Just like a credit card,
Oh, cool.
without the numbers. In fact, the prototype that I showed you, that's, unless Ken and his folks ask for changes, that's what it's gonna look like.
Okay. Picture too?
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Your picture or our picture?
Member picture.
Can we ask questions?
During the open forum,
Okay.
we'll be right with you. We're gonna get there lickety-split.
Okay.
All right. Any board members have any more questions about this? All right, I'll take a motion to accept this.
Yeah, I motion we accept the proposal for permanent ID cards.
I provide a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
What if we don't like our picture?
You
Then
can
you
pay
get to
$5
pay
and get a new one.
$5.
Yeah.
Pay $10 for a new one. If it's a picture, it's a 20.
Okay, that leads us to the open forum, and during the open forum, I'd like you to stand, tell us your lot number and your concern or praise. Most of them are praises lately. We're getting tired of those. Yes, sir.
Jefferson Valley 110, those IDs, are they gonna have pictures on them?
Yes. Individual member pictures.
Oh, they show them up here, huh?
We can pass it around.
Would you like to pass
So
this around?
everybody'd have to come in and get their picture taken, right?
That's
Yeah,
a
Just like the BMV, or whatever they call it, that,
And the other, I thought the dam was already closed.
It is. It is.
January 3rd.
it's closed.
And just for clarification, Ken and his folks, office staff, we're gonna meet tomorrow, and we'll talk about the rollout, but I expect what we're gonna come up with is, we'll print paper IDs to get us started, because getting every member in here to get a picture taken and get their permanent ID card is gonna be a long, slow process.
So this year will be our transition year.
So we'll slow roll this in so that we don't kill Ken's staff or hurt the membership. Okay,
Can we add pool pass on there?
we'll talk.
Okay, anybody else?
I know.
Yes, sir.
JD 663, Dana Ramsey. Will the spouses get a POA card as well, or we won't have to pass cards around? So each person in the household.
I think
Each
everybody
person will get a
currently gets
card.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, thanks.
What we expect in the future is that, you carry normally, most of us carry our licenses and our credit cards with us at all times. We expect you to carry your POA card at all times. And hopefully that'll make some of the jobs around here a little bit easier, because 9 times out of 10, well, I live at 54 Jefferson Valley and my card's at home. And hopefully this will help us with that.
One thing that I don't think we mentioned, we've talked about it before, but there will be information on this card where security could stop and scan it, but also know if you're on the water, have you taken your watercraft permit test? Have you passed it? Like, all of that information will be contained right there on your card. Yeah, have you paid your dues? Have you paid, all of those, all that information will be right there, so.
Big brother.
Actually, it'll be easier for everybody concerned, because, when it comes to, every year we have to print new POA cards and distribute those, and it's a real pain in the butt.
It is, I've
okay?
seen them sort those.
But the method that I'm presenting to Ken tomorrow is the POA dues status is tied to a database. So when you scan that barcode, then whoever's scanning it, they can see when were the dues paid. So, or when does it expire, so that just like it's printed right now on your card, it just won't have to be printed anymore. So the same card works year after year.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Phil McKinley, 330 Patriots Landing. I know you don't want to talk about campground very long. My only question is, applications are withdrawn, can also be resubmitted. Do we have any kind of strategy in place to know if this is ever going to be applied for in the future?
I'll let Ken answer after I give my 2 cents. This is a situation where somebody outside of Heritage Lake is going to be applying for a variant, applying for zoning for whatever project they come up with, whether it be a campground, horse barn, hog farm, you name it. I mean, you can go to the county and try and get that accomplished. Obviously, when something happens this close to Heritage Lake, there's a concern, and word travels fast. And I would just enter my 2 cents in saying that when anything like this happens, normally half the stuff you hear is not true, and the other half is not true. But the point of the matter is, if somebody's going to do this, we need to get the facts, and in order to get the facts, we have to go hear the story, we have to see the facts on paper, we have to, and nobody ever approves this stuff the first time around, because remonstrators have a chance to say that they don't want it forever for any reason what they might come up with. So when this happens, again, if it does, then I'm sure we're gonna be there to hear what we have. To give you some background, the only thing, what we've done is we contacted some people that could help us represent ourselves at these meetings to ask good factual questions about things that might pertain to their influence on our neighborhood, okay? And that's the only way we would get involved. I mean, as a POA, we're gonna represent you, but, we can't very well represent you if the subject of sheds come up, because half of them you want them and half of you don't. So it's, if you understand where I'm coming from here. So under the circumstances, this particular situation turned out pretty good for us, just because, we had our ducks in a row just to go and hear the facts. After we heard the facts, then we were going to proceed however we thought we should proceed, which is just to say why we either don't care or why we don't want it at these meetings, at these zoning meetings. Do you have anything to add?
No, not really. This thing come down so quickly that we really didn't have a chance to talk to our attorney for advice. But I had a strong gut feeling that, just knowing the family, I think that, I choose my words wisely here, that I felt like that they were going to drop out if they got some pushback. And that's exactly what happened. I really don't look forward it to be brought back up. If it's possible, like Paul said, it's not going to get approved overnight. Lisa Ziner with the zoning committee will call me and let me know. And we have reached out to one individual that has some experience in that background, kind of gave us a list of really good questions to ask. And then we'll probably speak with our attorney. Like Paul said, tonight's meeting we were going to discuss, because their zoning meeting is the same night as our board meeting. So we were going to discuss tonight who was going to go to that meeting to represent the POA. So we don't have to do that now.
And we also felt like tonight we were going to hear some reasons why people either wanted it or didn't want it. So it was going to be part of getting our ducks in a row for this next meeting with the planning commission.
I had a lot of my own questions regarding this, and none of them was on the list that the gentleman that had given us a list of questions to ask. But I'm just glad that it, you know, it didn't fall through for, you know, for the community, I guess, that was concerned that lived in that area. You know, I know some people on the other side of the lake may not care, but some people right in the immediate area, I sure heard from.
I think someone in the back, Tom, right?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks, Ken. I'm very appreciative that you were concerned about it. And I put up a lot of flack about it, and thank goodness I did. I think it's better for the community. I think people needed to know that this wasn't being ran by Heritage Lake. This was not something that was going to be controlled by us and our people. And I just never think it's a good idea to have a campground right by a residential area. Campgrounds for a state park, in my opinion. So I'm out of here. I'm going to go watch the game.
Thank you for your input.
All right, I'm happy how it turned out so far. So good night, everyone.
Tom?
Tom Novak, 25 Mill Springs. I'd just like to invite everybody to start out their new year in a positive way, and that is to donate blood. On this Thursday, between the hours of 2 and 7, right here in the clubhouse in the basement, the American Red Cross will be sponsoring, along with Heritage Lake, a blood drive. I'd like you to register, if you would, by either going to their website, which is www.redcrossblood, that's all one word, .org. Or you can call Mary Ann Novak to register at area code 765-386-2077. And just a reminder, for every pint of blood you donate, you save 3 lives. So I think that would be a great way for everybody in our community to turn out, show up. If for some reason you don't have an opportunity to pre-register and you have nothing else to do Thursday afternoon between the hours of 2 and 7, just stop by the clubhouse, come on downstairs. We'll be more than happy to take your blood. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. And hey, if anyone needs a ride to the clubhouse, if they contact Mary Ann, she can put you in contact with me, and I'm happy to give anyone a ride that needs a ride.
Yes, sir.
Jim Hazelwood, Jefferson Valley 110. Clarify that boathouse cover, because I've seen that rule change so many times out here, it's unbelievable.
Well, I'll clarify two
Just
things.
What's the A&E's?
I'll clarify 2 things. The rule has never changed. That's the one thing I'll clarify. The second thing I'll clarify is you can put a cover over your boat slip. You cannot.
What do you call a cover, though?
What am I calling a cover?
Yeah, is it a house?
No, it's a roof or a canvas or what have you, cover. You can put umbrellas all up and down your docks, but you can't put a permanent cover over your docks. Now, if your next statement's going to be that we have them out here, we already know that. Okay? And if some other time I could go through every one of them and tell you why they're here. Unfortunately, we get to a point once in a while as a board where we decide to save your money or waste your money. And for us to go sue somebody, it's going to cost us over $10,000 to $20,000 because they don't want to follow our rules. We sometimes decide not to do it. Secondly, we've had some mistakes made in the past where our committees have approved something. They didn't see the right drawings, they didn't see the right measurements, and they approved something that shouldn't have been approved. And then once it was built, it was built. So that's what happens when you got a bunch of volunteers trying to do the best job they can running your community. Any other questions or statements? I'll take a motion.
So moved. We adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Enjoy the game.
Don't get